everyone. Coming at you from my studio. I know you guys probably don't see me in here very much. I don't typically work from home, so I don't usually have my studio set up to where I can work in it, but since I'm trapped here, I figured might as well get it ready. As you can see, obviously there's a bit of a mess behind me. So today I'm going to work on drawing something new. Y'all can see Little Punk's face here. She's obviously got to be on my table. And just kind of give you guys into a bit of an insight into the creative process of how I do what I do. So always need my eraser. Definitely need my pencil. It's got a grippy because my hand's a little deformed. And then I got stencils. I love using stencils. It's something new I started doing. Punky, that is not helpful. Punk, that's the camera. Come on, man. Seriously? This is why no one takes this serious. Here, lay down. You have a corner. Anyway, as I was saying, typically I use stencils. They kind of help give a cleaner shape and whatever, especially with some of my little cartoon animals like the eyeballs and such. Today I'm going to be drawing a new female for my Powerful Women series. So this just kind of gives you guys an idea. So I start out with a blank piece of paper. There's nothing special about it. There's nothing fancy. It's just a blank piece of paper. And I typically draw at an angle. I don't know why and I don't know how. It's just kind of how it always works out for me. And I always have a piece of cardboard underneath. It just helps. Feels a little bit less pressure on the pencil. It also helps because typically where I work, my surfaces, you never know. Wood surfaces get dented and things like that. So it just gives a nice smooth work surface area. So, sorry. There's a cat literally sitting on the corner of my desk, guys. So, since I'm drawing one of my Powerful Women, I think I'm going to do her in the style of Lady Blue, where you just see the eye and some hair. So I'll start with drawing the eye. And see, that's not quite where I want it to be. So I always leave the old line, because if you mess up, it's pencil. Number one, you can erase it, and number two, you can use that old line to understand where best to put your new line. Okay. And then I'm going to use one of my circular stencils to draw the inside of the eye. Still don't quite like the shape in reference to that circle, so I'm going to extend this out a little bit. Erase the line I don't want. Okay, and there's eyelid. And then, okay. Now, if I have somewhere that I know is going to be colored black, I typically don't like super hard shade it in. I just gently do like a little kind of shading just so I know that that's where I want black to be later on. And now I'm going to do the eyelashes. Okay. So I'm going to kind of make them a little bit thicker. I'm going to fix the eyelid in reference to where that is. So now when I make an art, I never quite know what the final piece is going to look like. I always start down and I have like a concept in mind, you know, like, okay, I want to draw a female, or I want to draw, you know, a certain animal or something, but I never quite know 100% what it's going to end up looking like. So obviously today I'm drawing a female, and I'm kind of starting off a little basic, and then I'm going to slowly go from there. So her head would be about right here. And this is just going to give us a general idea of where her head is going to be. So I can then start filling in the hair. So I think I'm going to draw a line right there. Punky! Punky, there's people watching. This is very rude, child. Sorry, guys. Sorry. This is, you know, haphazards of working with the cat. This is why I work on the floor sometimes. If I sit on the floor, she at least sits next to me. I'm working at my table. This is what I have to deal with. Okay. Punky, seriously? Not cool, Batman. Not cool. Hey, stop. Punky, really? Can I at least have the not stinky end? Not the end with the swishy tail and the bull crap and all that nonsense. And yeah, sit down. So anyway, back to what I was drawing. So as a self-taught artist, like, one of the biggest things I can do to help keeping myself grow is to constantly challenge myself. So when I started drawing females, I literally had no professional training on how to draw people before. So it sat down and it was a lot of works in progress. And still to this day, like, I make art I just don't like, you know? We all go through it as artists, it's just a thing. Um, the biggest thing is to keep challenging yourself and keep trying to move forward. Even if you completely fail and hate a piece, someone might like it somewhere. You just never know. So right now I'm drawing in her hair. Hair is one of the most difficult yet fun things to draw because you can't really mess it up. I mean, hair is already kind of a messy object. So what you really have to do is just kind of picture a little bit of what kind of hairstyle you want. Do you want curly hair? Do you want straight hair? And then just kind of grow from there. So I love curly hair because I have curly hair, and to me it's just more fun to draw because you can get all these organic swirls and curls. Now, another purpose of this cardboard is if I start to draw off the page, which is something I tend to do a lot of my art goes really to the edges. I never really work within a confined space. I always work with more space than I actually have. It helps me out because I can carry the art over to the cardboard and then come back on the paper. So see this arch, how it goes off a little bit? What I can do is I can draw along the cardboard and bring it back to the paper. I can kind of keep the arch that I was making. So I'm going to just carry it down. This is another thing I love about drawing curly hair is it just you have so much freedom to make it as messy as you feel. Now when I draw, I tend to, you see how these lines are obviously not clean, like I'm going back and forth and sketching a little bit. It's easy later on to follow the general shape with the marker. The reason I do the little sketchy thing is to kind of help move the shape around a little bit easier. It's not quite such a confined, hard line. It's also a little bit easier on my hand. So, let's see. Now that I kind of have these curls where I want them to be, I'm going to kind of erase some of these lines to kind of give you a little more vision of the definitive shape. This is why pencil is great, because you can erase different things. And this is where it starts to get a little tricky. So the top of the head is easy because you always know it's going to move kind of in the general shape of the head. But then when you get to this part where there's a free flow, it gets a little bit more tricky because you have to start matching up these shapes and layering them just so to create a pattern of sorts. So we got to start moving from up here and carrying it down. So I'm going to start kind of carrying this downward a little bit. And here you go. So now this is done in the style of Lady Blue, and if you guys don't know what Lady Blue is. She is one of my most beloved drawings. And basically all it is you see her eye, and then you see her hair kind of in a wave around her eye and around her face. So I'm kind of doing that same style to where you're just going to see the eye and then a bunch of hair. So what I'm going to do So now the trick with hair is, another trick with it is to kind of in general, you can always add in little bits later. It's best to get some big shapes in there first, especially if you're moving away from the top of the head where obviously all the little hairs are typically at. So a couple big swirls like this really help balance it out. So, alright, you can hold on a minute, guys. I'm gonna get some water. Alright, I got some water. I also got Punky to get away from my table, which is great. You guys don't have to look at a random cat butt. Okay. So now that I have a couple big swirls, I think I'm going to add a bunch of little ones. So I think I'm going to do a little one right here to give balance to this big one that's in the corner. And I think I'm going to do one more. Just like that. And then I think I'm going to try and connect this up through here. Okay. Sometimes I rotate the paper while I'm working. It helps with curves. Took me several years to learn how to do that and not totally screw up my drawings. So, great. Okay, I was just bragging about how awesome it was that you weren't sitting up on my table. And now you're back. Hey, hey, hey. Live drawing would not be as fun without you, I swear. Can you get down? Thank you. So, I think what I'm going to do is carry this one over. Erase this. Alright. So I like that a little bit better because see now it goes around her eye. Without covering her eye up. And then I think what I need is a subtle curl right in here to break up some of this. I'm going to erase this so that you can just see there's a little kind of half moon type curl there. Then I'm going to feather a few more of these here in different places. So I think I'm going to do one down here. Sorry, I move the paper around a lot when I work. Sometimes getting different angles helps a lot with being able to see what you're doing. Alright, so now I kind of take a step back and I look at where I can feather in more little half moons, some little curls here and there to kind of balance it out. We definitely need a curl right about here. I'm actually going to match it up with that line. And see, this is another fun thing about doing curls is you never know when one's going to just magically line up with another one that you're already working on. Okay. So now I'm just looking again for more places I can maybe add in a few curls here and there. So, turns out I don't like those little half moons. I decided to turn them into full-on curls. I think it suits better with what's going on the top of the picture and how many curls she has up here. Oh, by the way, guys, look at my shirt. Bored to death. It's literally a Blink-182 shirt, but I'm not going to lie to you guys. Pretty accurate. Alright. So, I think I'm going to erase this guy. I like the general shape of them, but not quite what I want to do. I think I'm going to draw another little curl. I'm going like this. I'm just getting my bearings with where I'm at with these shapes. I feel like I need to break up this curl right here, so I'm going to do this. I think that will help. So that's kind of the basics right now. Let's see what else I can add in here to maybe create a little bit more detail. I'm going to look at it from my angle. It's upside down to you guys, but I'm going to try and figure out what I need to add in where. I actually like her. So this is kind of what I'm looking at right now. So the next step would be to kind of adding in some details. So this is where it gets really fun. If any of you know Void Vixen, she's my only ever black and white piece. You can find her on my website, my Facebook, all kinds of stuff. My website is artbydevin.com, by the way, for anyone who wants to know. And anyway, she has a lot of patterns in her hair, so I think I'm going to do something similar with this piece. Simply because the patterns kind of made the piece better than it appeared to be. So So I'm going through and I'm just adding little kind of stripes in her hair that follow the shape of each curve. Sorry for the abrupt movement. I'm a blonde and I forgot to plug in my laptop. Alright. So this is where the picture gets kind of fun because you see there's certain areas like this where it doesn't really look like it connects into a fellow curve. So what I typically do is I save those pieces until I have done the lines and all the shapes around it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this shape. Okay. Okay, so I did all the little shapes around this kind of like empty hole where there's nothing really going on. You can't really see what curl it connects to. You can't see what's going on. So what I try to do in these spaces is just find like a general shape that fits with the flow. So I'm going to start with a line that goes like this. See how it kind of fits with the flow of this curl, but it doesn't exactly lead the same direction it does. It pans out right here and goes straight. So I'm going to just follow that shape, that line that I just made, and I'm going to draw stripes. So it will match the rest of the picture, and we'll fill this empty space in and give the illusion that there's another curl maybe going down here that you wouldn't actually see on the artwork itself. And then we're just going to continue this into this little stripe and see how it kind of accents this a little bit, because you have stripes going the opposite direction of this, because this is curling over and this is going under. So then I just keep going from there. And again, sorry, I'm moving the picture a lot, but that's kind of how I work. I tend to draw, I move the picture around, I tend to erase a lot, but you got to kind of get a feel for the paper. And I'm never one of those artists, I've said this earlier, that actually knows what my art is going to look like in the end. I just kind of get the feel for what I want and go for it. See, that ended up a little weird, so I'm going to go back and kind of do this a little different. And then kind of follow this curve. So see, now you can see like the bottom part of the picture. So I'm going to slowly just keep working my way up. Always easier for me to start in one corner. I don't necessarily always start at the bottom, but I tend to always work from one corner or one edge to the next. So now here, this curl actually connects up here. So I'm going to loosely follow these shapes. And that loosely connects. Okay. I'm going to do this stripe. See what I did there? Rather than draw a line through what I've already drawn, I just kind of hovered the pencil where I knew the line would go. Saved me a little bit of extra work of erasing. So now I can see I can do the same here. I know that line's going to pop out right there. And we're going to do another line. Same thing. Going to hover it, carry it through. Okay, so Going to hover it and carry it through. And then I'm going to just, based on the spacing on the other one, just kind of wing a line. And then I have another empty space here, so I'm going to do some stripes in the opposite wave of where her hair is going. I honestly feel like I need another stripe in here. It's not spaced quite right. Then I'm going to do, I think, curves, lines this way. So there, the bottom half is done. Still working my way up a little bit. Okay. we're getting there, guys. You know, sometimes when I get really bored and I'm sitting by myself working on art, I start to make sound effects. So yeah, if you guys hear me make weird noises, don't worry, it's just me giving myself sound effects so that I'm slightly entertained. I typically listen to music, or watch a TV show while I'm working on art. But since I'm live streaming and there are such things as copyright laws, I can't do either one of those. And I wanted you guys to be able to hear my commentary today because I know I don't usually talk during my videos. So I wanted you guys to hear like me explaining like what I'm doing and some of the process of how I do what I do. Just because it's fairly interesting, I think, from a certain standpoint. Obviously not interesting to everybody, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who just think the creation of art looks boring, but I know some of you guys like it. So, got to figure out what I did here. So you see how I have this line here? I think I'm going to erase that line, and I'm going to carry these kind of little lines over here. So I'm going to do this. And see, I don't know about that. And see, something's bothering me about this curl. So I think what I'm going to do is kind of break it up a little bit. See, there I go, making sound effects, making noises. So, all right, we got moving up towards the top. Okay. Ooh, getting closer. Getting closer. Sometimes my art gets me so excited I just random dance. This is part of the fun of getting to watch like an artist work on art. You don't know really how weird we are and how weird our process is until you see us like sit down and start to create something, and then it really like dawns on you that like we live in our own little world, especially when we're like in the throes of making something. It's nothing else really matters to us at the moment. That's kind of what art has always been for me. It's been an escape. It's been a way to just deal with life in a more beautiful, constructive way. It's not just life in general. It's stress and it's all the craziness. I mean, even right now in the world with all the crazy stuff going on and all the weirdness, this is still my escape, my way to just be myself and feel like things are going to be okay. Yeah, I actually am kind of enjoying how quiet it is in here. And Punky's sitting at the window. It's snowing outside, so she's trying to figure out if hell is actually freezing over or if something worse is happening. I don't know what would be a whole lot worse than hell freezing over. You guys are probably hearing my computer. It's kind of loud at the moment. And there you have it. That is going to be my next piece. I don't typically name pieces until I start coloring, because the color really is what inspires it. Like Lady Blue, she didn't have a name until I colored her blue. A lot of my weird little animals, they kind of name themselves as I go. I usually step back when I finish a piece and I go over it and I make sure that there's no missing spots like the one I just filled in. And just kind of double check and make sure that the piece looks the way I want it to. And to be honest, I'm pretty proud of this. I haven't drawn a female in a while, so pretty cool with the way this turned out. Typically I have some hate towards my art when it's in pencil because I just still don't see the final vision. So tune back in. I'm not sure if I'll post again later today or tomorrow, but tune back in and I'll finish this female. Maybe start some more artwork. Have a good day, guys.